Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at idea generation. Idea generation isn't just for the creative industries, it can be used in many different areas, be it to solve a problem, create a new workflow, market a company, service, or a product. Idea generation is something that all companies need, no matter what sector they are in. So, why do we generate ideas? Well, companies seek out creative types to assist them in creating ideas that they can utilize. Why they do this is because to improve on what already exists, they may have old content that they could possibly repurpose. And with that, you can improve on it. You can go, right, this worked at this time, however, technology has advanced or certain trends are in place. So we need to improve on it and make it better. It's a great way of reintroducing a product or service to an audience that you already have. Generating ideas is a great way of breaking old thinking habits. Habits such as it worked before, so let's do it again. This thinking leads you down to a path of boring content and just doing the same over and over again, which is not how it should be. You should be doing different things with some consistency in your branding and your message, but the content still needs to be interesting and engaging. And another great thing about idea generating is it can be really, really fun. And not everyone is creative minded. So there's always going to be a need for those who can think outside the box. And this unique way of thinking, this unique way of creating ideas can actually open the door for a lot of companies. We've all seen tons of adverts for like Nike and Jordans and all of these big brands. But there's always been an idea behind it, and that idea has opened the door for them. So next, I want to talk about the 4 stages. There are 4 key stages that idea generation goes through. This is inspiration. So this is being immersed in an area you enjoy, such as graphics, web development. If you're into gaming, you want to be into gaming. If you're into fashion, you want to be into fashion. If you're into it and you love this particular area, you tend to gravitate towards content that you enjoy. This opens your mind up for getting inspiration from different sources, seeing maybe the same problem from different perspectives, and, gathering this information, being surrounded by this stuff that you love, can also be considered a research stage. You never know when an article that you've looked at maybe 2 months ago is actually still relevant today, and it's something you can build on. The next stage is creating. This is the part where you kind of put your initial ideas together. If that's in a sketch, writing down, gathering images, however you feel comfortable putting your ideas forward, this is where you create. You're allowed to go nuts at this stage. Because the next stage in condense, where we condense down those ideas into a few that works, one, from a design or business perspective, from your experienced and professional perspective, these ones will work. But it also considers the audience in this bit. Does it speak to not just your professional perspective, but does it reach the audience? Will it be the right problem solver, or is it going to be something a bit more? On the condensed stage, you want to pick, I usually like to go with 3 ideas and put them forward so that you've got the 3 options. You want to prepare them for presentation and get ready to do some further development. This further development, once you've gone through the reviews and the changes, amendments, you're eventually going to come to the validation stage where your idea is approved and ready to be actioned. Again, these 4 stages are kind of key. They're the very basics. And you want to make this process your own. I know some people who work backwards. They have the final idea, they work backwards, and sometimes when they're right back at the inspiration, that's when the whole completed thing just comes together. It's all about finding a way that's natural to you, because your ideas will come just more and more often and quicker to you once you've established your own way of doing this. Now, I am going to go into research and what research you should be doing. But first, before we go into that, we need to be aware of the funnel. Now, the funnel, it's called a lot of names. You can call it a buyer's journey, you can call it a sales funnel, you can call it whatever you like. But these are some stages that you need to know before you dive into your research. You need to understand a little bit more about your audience. But why do you need to understand more? So, let's go through it. Benefits of ownership, also known as awareness, is where someone first sees your business, your product, or your service, and they start to see your brand. Now, again, I've spoke previously about how brands are important, and I'll put a link to that later. But that brand, they're going to notice the message, and from there onwards, we start pulling them down the filter into the next stage, which is objections to ownership or consideration. You can also say that this is your pain points. So objections to ownership or consideration is the moment when someone thinks they may need your product or service. So yes, at awareness, you are all there, people can see you, but sometimes it's not the right time. If it is the right time, that person's going to go to the next stage and go into, why do I need this? And will I have the money to do this? So at this stage, they're finding out more about you. They're having a look at the different stuff online. They might not be interacting with your stuff online. And this is a big thing to remember, that online, not everyone interacts with your stuff, but you just do not know who's viewing it. And if you're putting out inconsistent content, you're putting out inconsistent messages, people will notice that. And then that will be another block going into the decision or vendor selection. Vendor selection, or making a decision, is when the individual has had a look, they know who you are, they've looked at your content, they've done a bit of research into it, because not every client is going to come to you, not every prospect is going to come to you not knowing anything. They will do their research. There's more than enough information in the background with a quick Google search that they can use. So they're going to contact you, they're going to find out more, they're probably going to press you to find and maybe ask you some trick questions just to try and throw you off guard and see exactly where your expertise is. This doesn't go for all of them, of course. This is where some people just don't have a clue and they need that help. So they'll find out more. They're going to probably grill you pretty hard because they want to make sure that they're getting the best for their money. And then after this, it's up to you to try and convince them at this stage that, yep, it's totally 100% what they need, because this is a stage where the buyer will decide. Once they've decided and signed up with you, you then go into post-purchase and retention. Post-purchase and retention is when a customer is satisfied with the service, the product, whatever, and they're happy to refer businesses, or they want to work with you again, or they want to work with you long term. So at the vendor selection and the post-purchase stages, you want to make sure that your customer service is up to standard, that you've got someone who can answer emails in a timely manner, who can answer phone calls, Facebook messages, comments, that kind of stuff. This is when sometimes if you do not have enough time, it's worth looking and investing in a VA, because that VA is going to be there to help you do all this and make sure that none of these leads will fall off. So keep this in mind as we go into our next stages. So the next stages you want to do is the research of your competitors. So bear in mind, your competitors are also marketing to that exact same audience you are trying to hit. I haven't come across a business that doesn't have a competitor of some type. So let's go through it. Looking at what they are doing. Is it working? Can you improve on it? Is there anything that's not working? This will give you a really good insight into what your audience is engaging with. And if it's engaging, then we want to take that and we want to make it 10 times better. It's going to give you that brilliant little bit of nugget that you're going to need to start taking action and improving and beating your competitors. So how are they doing it? What is the content? What's the tone of voice? What's the graphics, the brand, the timings, the days? How are they using it and how is it they are doing it? Are they doing lots of videos? Are they doing lots of clear images? Is the tone of voice very formal? Is it informal? Is it funny? Is there sarcasm? All of these things you need to be looking into to start understanding why these customers are buying into your competitors and how your competitors are utilizing the data that they already have and benefit from it. We all hear about your unique selling point, your brand message, or call to action. These are all pretty similar when you're doing your research. So what is their message? Is there a call to action? Where are they directing the audience to? Are they encouraging traffic to the website or are they trying to get them to message the page? Is their unique selling point mentioned a lot? Is it there in the graphics somewhere? Is it clear? Do you know what it is? These are all very important things to be asking yourself as you run through this, and things that you need to be looking at when you're researching your competitors. So where are they advertising? And is the audience interacting? So I've already kind of touched on this, that your competitors are marketing to your audience as well. If they've been established for a long time and are quite successful, they will know what platforms your audience are on. They will know the marketing and what platforms to market on. This means that you don't have to do all of the legwork now. This means that you will know, right, so let's say it's a shoe shop. The shoe shop is marketing on Instagram and Facebook only. Right, cool. So if I market on Facebook and Instagram, I am going to have a much easier time of it. I know my clients are there. I know what they're interacting with. I know the colours. Let's go with it. In other words, they're doing a lot of it for you. So let's consider this. Where are they advertising? What are they making use of? Is there call to actions to the website? Is there newsletters? Do you see the audience interacting? Newsletters, you can create an account and go, okay, I'm going to use this account to sign up to various newsletters. And upon signing up to these newsletters, you can watch how that marketing funnel works. This email address can just be for that only because you don't want to mess it up with all your everyday emails as well. A great way of capturing this data and putting it together, again, can be in a document, a mood board. You could do mind mapping if that's easier for you. You've got to tailor this so that you understand it and that you can refer back to it at a later date. Sometimes you will find within certain industries that the marketing of the audience is quite similar. The competitors are quite similar. And this is likely because they have done the research. And if it's working for them, then it has to work for you as well. You just have to take it, put a spin on it, and make it yours. So the next stage, we are going to talk about your customers. This is something that all of us want. Everyone wants customers and everyone wants new ones. So let's go through it. Creating ideas is a great skill to have. However, ideas won't come together, have functioning purpose if you don't know who the idea is targeted at. As we mentioned, you can get a great insight of the audience from the competitors because they are targeting your audience. The other thing to do is also consider putting yourself in the position of the customer and start thinking like one. This will help you answer some of the questions. Now, before you say, how do I put myself in the shoes of a customer? Well, We have all been a customer. We have all bought a phone. We've all bought a car. We've all bought a particular item of clothing. So think like that. Think that they're coming to buy your service. Even pretend you're buying your own service. And start thinking that way. So first of all, who are they? Who are the customers? You should be able to get some insight from your competitor research. And you should be able to go, right, okay, so let's say the average user seems to be about the 30-year-old mark. So let's target the 30-year-olds. Another idea is to go and look at it in a perspective of, if I am a business owner and I want to buy, say, a new bit of software, I would be considering the cost of it. Cost is always a factor. What can I benefit from it, and what features does it give me? We'll go into these a bit later. Where are your customers based? Now, you should get a good idea that, and you should understand that some areas are more well off than others. If you're going to market a cinematic surround sound system in someone's home, you are going to be looking for areas that are of more wealth, because areas of lower wealth are unlikely to have that disposable income to support a purchase of that standard, of that quality, of that expense. So consider that as a factor in your customer journey. You don't want to be targeting areas where you know the customers are lower end in their expenses, they have more trouble, unless of course you're targeting people with that as a form of helping them. I know a lot of charities get great results from targeting these lower end incomes because their service will help them. But if they were to target for funding purposes, the charities would need to target the higher area of more affluent income. So you have to consider where they are. This also helps when you're deciding prices for things. If someone's a startup, for instance, they're not going to have the disposable income that a 20-year-old company that is well established is going to have. So consider that as well. Where are they in their life? You can look at it in a person perspective. Are they single, retired, married, newly married? There's a lot of things to consider. What are the customer's interests other than gardening? Well, this can be quite hard to come up with if you've not got a lot of data, if you've not got money to put into a full-blown market research survey, emailing campaigns, or anything like that. However, if you go into Google, you can type in, say you're a gardener, type in garden hobbies, and you'll have other suggestions under there, which will eventually lead you on a chain. You can also do this with Facebook by liking a page, having a little look down the side and going, okay, so someone who's like this has also gone into this other page. And then if I look at that page, they've also gone to this page. It is a very long trail to follow, but it's another way of, one, finding your competitors, finding what your audience is engaging with, and finding out what their interests are. The next stage. So we've already touched on this briefly, but what are their problems and pain points? What is stopping them from coming to you and purchasing what you have to offer? So let's consider it. What are the problems? We already know that cost is a factor. Is time a factor? Is maybe quality of material a problem? You've got to look at it this way and be very subjective in, right, this is working, but this isn't. And going, this works for people, this doesn't work for people. However, if we come up with a solution for this, this is what they'll get from it. It's a little bit confusing to start off with, but it's pretty easy once you nail down your product and what that product is. For example, you have made let's say you've made beautiful hand soaps, homemade organic ingredients. a lot of people's pain points when buying cosmetics these days is it cruelty-free? Is it vegan? In which case you need to put that message across that your beautiful hand soaps are actually vegan and not tested on animals. That also can be on the packaging as well, which I'm sure we're aware of. Consider this little things and consider what's going on in the world, people's beliefs and such, can be a point that's stopping them from buying. And that brings us into how does the product, the service, the idea that you're coming up with, solving a problem, is it got the answers to their problems? Is it saving them time? There we go. It saves you time. Is it saving them money? Here we go. We're saving you money. You have to ask this and start developing it. So like I said with the hand soaps, the problem of stopping people would be particularly the chemicals used. Is it tested on animals? Is it vegan? These kind of things. In which case you have to answer yes, and you have to make that clear. And all of this doesn't just go for social media and marketing. It goes into your graphic designs, it goes into your branding, your websites, it goes into your business structure as well. Because instead of researching your customers, you could be researching your employees and finding what the problem is and if you have a solution for it, or can you build a solution for it. I hope you guys are still with me, because now we're going into help to generate ideas. There are lots and lots of ways that you can generate ideas. There are lots of your research should be giving you enough information for you to spark a few ideas and start working on them. You can sketch, you can build a mind map, mood boards, collaboration, and blue sky thinking. So collaboration is usually a back and forth using someone as a sounding board, taking on ideas, and a back and forth area where both of you, or if you're in a group, all of you get a bit of an insight, all of you get your say, and eventually that processes into an idea. In this stage, you could say this is the inspiration bit, the research bit, the creative bit, all in one. And once you've got all these ideas done and put together, you can then condense this down. Blue sky thinking is probably one of my more favourite ways of thinking, and going, right, budget isn't an issue. Technology isn't an issue. If we have everything that we could possibly need for this particular client, this particular product, this particular service, whatever it may be, and you just go for it, no limits, you can then start developing something that's very unique, very out there, and then condense it down to be something that sits within the budget. It's a great way of just taking the boundaries off and going, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do it. Benefits versus features. So we had briefly mentioned the idea of benefits versus features. But what are they? So benefits are important because they answer your customer's question of, why should I care what you have? So again, this is the awareness and the consideration. And it also comes down to how you answer those questions, the pain points. And the feature, as quoted here, a feature is something your product has or is. Often I've seen benefits and features getting mixed up. And it's not just something that can be applied to a product, it can be applied to a service, a new bit of software you're developing, a new course, you name it. There is a way to apply this to what you are doing. As you can see here in this wonderful little diagram I found, we have the Humble umbrella. And here are 3 of their features. We've got unbreakable design, waterproof material, and real wood handle. So as you can see, these are the materials, the design of it, the feel of it. All of this is a feature. However, how does that benefit someone? These features are great, but what do they get from the humble umbrella? Well, it protects from harmful sun rays, blocks out rain. There you go, 2 very basic features. Now, a great way of doing features versus benefits is going, here's a post with our feature, and here's the content of the benefit. It's a very simple process when you know your product, when you know your service, or what you're trying to do. If you want to pause the video and do this, please do. It's 10 minutes to write down what you think the benefits and features of a chair are. Now, you might be surprised by how many there are, and in the next slide, I've condensed this right down. So I will pause. Feel free to pause the video and do the task. Okay, for those of you who have done the task, I hope you had a bit of fun with it. So as you can see here, I've just chosen 3 points and paired them up. So in the features, we have an armrest, we have the pleather, the material of the chair, and the wheels. Now, why have I chose these? Well, the benefits of these are the armrests offer a great support, and this is a benefit to the user. Why pleather? Well, the pleather is easy to clean. You can wipe that down. You don't have to worry about getting expensive cleaning materials or anything. And wheels. Why the wheels? Well, it means the chair can be easily moved from position to position without any lifting. There's lots more. We could go into how you have the lever, you've got the headrest, the particular innards of, well, the stuffing of the chair. But for an example, I think this gives you a rough idea of what we're kind of looking at. Next up, we're looking at possibly everyone's favourite form of marketing, be it if you are on the receiving end of the marketing or creating it. Unfortunately, guerrilla marketing does require quite a bit of a budget, and it's not suitable for everyone. But you can consider guerrilla marketing in digital now. There's software and technologies out there that can make your marketing an experience. Of course, the more complex the experience, the more expensive it will be. But you can see here with these 2 fantastic examples, they work and they are quite interesting. The Economist is something that is often seen on LinkedIn as a great example of interactive guerrilla marketing. As you can see, the individual walks under the light and the light bulb lights up. That will often lead to someone looking up going, oh, what's that? And they will say, The Economist. The McDonald's one is again quite simple, but it will be expensive if you consider the fact that they would have had to close the road for the painting. The idea on this is using the zebra stripes, the crossroading, I can't remember what the Americans call it anymore, but using those stripes as the fries of the McDonald's cup. So that is, again, a very simplistic but expensive way of marketing. And again, you can use some of these techniques. So I'll just read out those little sections here for you. So, thinking outside the box. This is guerrilla marketing. Interactive are also known as experiential marketing. Guerrilla marketing is the creating use of novel or unconventional methods in order to boost sales or attract interest in a brand or business. I'm sure we've all come across some at some point. This can be applied digitally, so make sure you're looking around, gathering your research, and thinking, how can I do this? I have another task for you. 10 minutes to write down an idea for an interactive experiential campaign for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is probably one of the most well-recognized brands out there. It's one of the most popular fizzy drinks. So I doubt you're going to have to do much research on this. And to be honest, I would say go with blue sky thinking here. Go with there is no limits. What can you do with a can of Coke? Please pause now, and then we'll go on to the next slide. So here's some campaigns that they have done, and I wonder and would love if you could share any of your ideas in the comments and let me know how you feel this has gone. So, previous campaigns that Coca-Cola have done. There is the Velcro poster, which was to advertise the new grip of the bottle. Now, this was interesting, and you can see smiles on that guy's face as he's realised his jacket's been caught. I bet there's a few people who've been very grumpy because their expensive jacket has frayed slightly. But it's an effective campaign to get them to turn around and look at the brand. If you look, the logo is in a kind of eye center point of view, so you're going to see it regardless. Next is the vending machine that's a can. It's fun, it's quirky, it's a big can of juice, and it's something that captures your eye and you go, what is that? Now this giant poster is the next one, and it's really cool because it interacts with its environment. The straws looks like it's going into the houses of the individuals and that these people are drinking from it. It's a fun, quirky, very simple way of doing a little bit of that guerrilla marketing and making it just a little bit experiential. Just think how many people have asked for someone to take a photo of them by the window with that giant straw. I bet it's brilliant. So I've given you a somewhat brief overview of idea generation with some ideas for you to take away for yourself. Please feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. I am Ailey of E2E Studios and I am the graphics and social media manager. E2E Studios do a hell of a lot of stuff online as we are shaping the future of the internet. We offer graphic design, website design and development, as well as social media management, content creation. If it's digital, we're probably doing it. So please feel free to get in touch. If you want to know more, I am on LinkedIn and I'm always happy to connect. Thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and this little thing of trying to teach you a little bit more about thinking outside the box and how to generate more ideas. Until next time.